You had the date locked in. Maybe you even rearranged your schedule for it. Then your phone buzzes. Hey, something came up. Can we reschedule? And right there, in that exact moment, a test just started. One you didn't sign up for. One most men fail without ever realizing it was happening. Here's what nobody tells you. That cancellation, it might be real. Something might have actually come up. But it doesn't matter. Because whether it's a genuine conflict or a deliberate test, she's watching what happens next. She's reading your energy through the screen, and your response is going to tell her more about who you are than 3 dates ever could. This isn't about games. This isn't about manipulation. This is about how women evaluate emotional stability in real time, under pressure, when things don't go according to plan. And if you don't understand the dynamics here, you're going to keep losing women you could have kept. So, let's break down exactly what's happening, the 3 responses that kill attraction instantly, and what the right move actually looks like. 1. Understand what's being measured. When she cancels, she's creating a controlled pressure scenario. Not consciously in most cases, but instinctively. She wants to see what happens when you don't get what you want, because that moment reveals character faster than anything you could say on a date. Think about it. Anyone can be charming when things go well. Anyone can be relaxed when they're getting what they want. But what happens when the plan falls apart? What happens when you're disappointed? That's when the mask slips. She's watching to see if your emotional state depends on her. If one canceled plan sends you spiraling into anger, into coldness, into desperate over-accommodation, she now knows something critical about you. Your center isn't stable. Your confidence is conditional. And that tells her everything she needs to know about how you'll handle real challenges down the road. 2. The emotional blowup. This is the most obvious fail, and men convince themselves it's not that bad because they frame it as having standards. It looks like this. She texts, "Hey, I'm so sorry, but I can't make it tonight. Work thing came up last minute." He replies, "Seriously? I moved stuff around for this. Would have been nice to know earlier." Or worse, "This is the second time you've done this. I don't have time for games." Here's what he thinks he's doing. Standing up for himself, setting a boundary, showing he won't be disrespected. Here's what she reads. Emotional instability disguised as standards. Insecurity dressed up as self-respect. Because a genuinely secure man doesn't react that way to a canceled date. He doesn't guilt trip. He doesn't keep score out loud. His evening had value before she was in it, and it still has value after. One canceled plan doesn't warrant an emotional response. It just warrants a redirect. The blow-up tells her, your mood depends on me, and that's a disqualifier. 3. The passive-aggressive freeze. This one's more subtle, and honestly, more common than the blow-up. She cancels, you reply, "It's fine." 2 words, flat energy, and then everything changes. Your texts get shorter. You take longer to respond. There's a coldness she can feel even through the screen. You're not yelling, you're not accusing, but you're punishing her, and she knows it. This response reads as emotional immaturity. It tells her you don't know how to process disappointment without leaking it sideways. You can't say what you actually feel, so you make her feel it instead. And here's the thing. She's not guessing. She's not wondering if you're mad. Women are calibrated to detect this energy instantly. The subtle punishment, the withdrawal disguised as nothing's wrong. It's worse than the blow-up in some ways, because at least the blow-up is honest. The passive-aggressive freeze is manipulation without ownership, and she'll never trust a man who operates that way. 4. The over-accommodation. This one catches a lot of guys off guard, because on the surface it looks like the mature response. She cancels, you reply, "No worries at all, totally understand. Let me know when you're free and we'll figure something out." Sounds reasonable, right? Sounds chill. But read it again. Feel the energy. There's too much enthusiasm, too much reassurance. It signals that you're not just okay with the cancellation, you're grateful she even considered going out with you in the first place. This response tells her 3 things. 1. Your time has no value. 2. You have no boundaries. 3. You're performing unbothered because you're terrified of losing her. And she can tell the difference. A woman knows when a man is genuinely relaxed and when he's trying to convince her he's relaxed. The over-accommodation is the second one, and it kills attraction just as fast as the blow-up. 5. What she's actually screening for. Let's go deeper. Because once you understand what she's really evaluating, the whole game shifts. She's not testing you to see if you'll get upset, she's screening for something more fundamental. Does this man have a grounded center that exists independent of me? That's the question, every time, in every test. Because a man whose emotional stability depends on her presence, her attention, her validation, that man is exhausting to be with. She can feel it, the constant need to manage his feelings, the pressure of knowing that if she pulls back, he falls apart. That's not a partner, that's a project. But a man who has his own life, his own energy, his own sense of worth, a man who can take disappointment in stride because his identity doesn't hinge on any single outcome, that man is rare, and that man is attractive. Not because he doesn't care about her, but because his caring doesn't come with conditions or fragility. I knew a guy once, dated this girl for a few weeks. She canceled on him last minute, some vague excuse about a friend needing her. He just texted back, "All good, talk soon." Then went to the gym, grabbed food with a buddy, didn't check his phone for hours. The next morning, she's texting first, asking when they can reschedule. He didn't play a game, he just had a life. That's the difference. 6. The timing tells the story. Here's a detail most guys miss entirely. It's not just what you say, it's how fast you say it. If she cancels and you respond instantly, whether it's the blow-up, the coldness, or the over-accommodation, she knows something. You were sitting by your phone. You were waiting. An instant response, either way, signals that she was the center of your evening, that you had nothing else going on, that your focus was on her before she even texted. Contrast that with a response that comes naturally, not strategically delayed, not calculated, but genuinely unhurried because you were actually doing something. Maybe 20 minutes, maybe an hour, not because you're playing games, but because you were living your life. She can feel the difference. A measured response that arrives after a natural gap communicates abundance without saying a word. An instant reply, especially an instant emotional one, communicates scarcity. And scarcity kills attraction. 7. What the right response actually looks like. So, here's the move, and it's simpler than you think. She cancels, you take a breath, you genuinely redirect your evening, not because you're pretending to be okay, but because you actually have value in your life outside of this date. Then you respond. Something like, "No stress, let me know when you're free." 5 words, no enthusiasm, no coldness, no performance, just calm. That's it. But here's the key. You can't fake this. You can't memorize the line and deliver it while internally spiraling. She'll feel the mismatch every time. The words don't matter if the energy is wrong. So the real answer isn't learning what to text. The real answer is becoming the kind of man who actually has a life worth living. The kind of man who genuinely has plans, interests, friends, purpose. The kind of man whose evening doesn't collapse because one date fell through. When you get there, the response becomes natural. You don't have to think about it. You just redirect and move on. Not as a strategy, as a reality. You're not here to impress her with how well you handle rejection. You're here to build a life where rejection doesn't rattle you because your foundation doesn't depend on her. That's the whole game. And once you understand this, really understand it, you'll start seeing these moments differently, not as rejections to survive, not as tests to pass, just information, data about where you stand, and a chance to be exactly who you are regardless of the outcome. Which one of these hit you? The blow-up, the passive-aggressive freeze, the over-accommodation? Be honest in the comments. I read every single one. Because here's the thing. This test, the cancellation test, it's just one piece. There's something else happening beneath the surface, something that explains why she picked the guy who's objectively less attractive, less successful, less impressive on paper, and it has nothing to do with luck. That's coming next. Stay sharp.